I am Gregory Hallows, and this is Preserve Halloween Podcast. Just wanted to talk today. This is a project that I've been wanting to do for some time. I love Halloween related music. I love anything to do with music, really. In my lifetime, I have managed a record store, I've been a college radio DJ. I have worked for a few record labels doing street team promotions as well as, just promotions in general. When I was in college, I worked for MTV for a small period of time. I currently have built a radio station in my house so that I can play whatever I want to because there doesn't exist a radio station, as far as I know, that plays the diverse type of music I listen to. So I created one myself that plays, just within my house. And it's, my kids are growing up listening to anything from AFI to Frank Sinatra to Dolly Parton to, electronic music. So, you turn on the radio station in my house, there's no telling what's going to play next. But I've always loved playing Halloween music and I play it all year round, but especially love making playlists during, Halloween and October. And there are a lot of songs that just are quintessential Halloween songs to me. And I have a fun time looking into the history of these songs. I did a podcast before that went into the song Haunted House and the two different, singers that have ties to that song. But today I wanted to get into a song that most everybody knows, whether you know the band or not. You've heard it, or you've heard a cover of it, or I mean, at the least, you've seen the band's logo. Of course, I'm talking about Misfits. Um, the the crazy thing is, I mean, it's nuts to imagine this. I mean, or it just makes some of us feel really old. But can you believe that 40 years ago, this coming Halloween, uh, the band that is credited as the originators of horror punk, the Misfits, they released their fifth single on Glenn Danzig's Plan 9 Records label, and of this, only 5,000 copies were pressed. This release was the first to use the iconic famous Monsters of Filmland inspired logo on the cover. And it also is the first release to refer to the band simply as Misfits, not the Misfits. Um, that song, of course, is Halloween. That was the A side to the single. The B side was Halloween 2. This song, along with 11 or 12, depending on which history you read, other songs, was recorded in August of 1980, and these songs were recorded for a planned album that never was released in its entirety. Uh, Jerry Only's younger brother Doyle practiced and recorded his own tracks, guitar tracks, and overdubs during this session, and this group of tracks was mixed in September, and by October, one of the bandmates was out of the band, that of course being Bobby Steele, and he was replaced by the 16-year-old upstart named Doyle Wolfgang von Frankenstein. Three of the songs from the session back in 1980 were eventually released in April of 1981 as the Three Hits from Hell EP. The A side was London Dungeon, and the B side was Horror Hotel Ghouls Night Out. Bobby Steele's guitars were used for the main riff of London Dungeon, and producer Robbie Alter, he played the chords, and Doyle's guitar is used on the other two tracks. And both of those B-side songs were based on horror films, of course. Horror Hotel was a 1960 Christopher Lee movie, and Night of the Ghouls was a 1958 Ed Wood movie. and those were inspirations for those songs. And of course, Misfits always, seem to be associated with horror and especially B horror. That was, something that came on after the Static Age recordings, I believe, or the Static Age sessions. But anyway, the rest of 1981, this new lineup continued to record for a full length that was later to be released on Slash Records called Walk Among Us. But in October 31st, 1981, Misfits released 2 tracks from that August 1980 recording session as the Halloween single. Side A was Halloween, of course, and Side B was Halloween 2. This was the last release to include guitarist Bobby Steele. His recordings were used on the B-side, Halloween 2, and Doyle's guitar is used on the A-side track, Halloween. And the Misfits, one of the things to me that's always fun to realize and fun to talk about, and especially for me, is, the band is named after a Marilyn Monroe movie, her final film, The Misfits. They loved horror, and it's pretty obvious how much they loved horror. Plan 9 Records, of course, is named after the Ed Wood movie. And starting around 78, the band started to change their appearance, and it's the one that most everyone who has just a vague knowledge of the band associates, this look with them. The skeletons, the dark makeup, and of course that devil lock hairstyle. The fact that they used the Crimson Ghost skeleton as their mascot, I thought was awesome. The Fiend fan club that Danzig pretty much ran himself out of the basement. All this stuff just makes you want to love Misfits. I know that they have a lot of controversy as a band, and it's crazy that during their initial existence from the 70s, late 70s to around 1983, they were underground popular, but not mainstream popular. I mean, especially not even close to what it has become. I mean, there are a ton of people that know that skeleton logo and have no idea what it comes from. They just, it's everywhere. It's on any kind of product that you can think of. And the crazy thing is, Misfits, as the traditional lineups, or the first incarnation of the Misfits, only put out 2 full-length albums and some singles and EPs. They didn't have a huge catalog, but they were hugely influential. Metallica, Green Day, Rob Zombie, all of them consider Misfits an influence on the band. My Chemical Romance, Alkaline Trio, Blink-182, even bands like that owe a lot of debt to Misfits. And, of course, Metallica covered Misfits song Guns N' Roses, AFI, which I love AFI's cover of Halloween. Dropkick Murphys, they've all covered Misfits songs, and the reissues and the previously unreleased tracks that were put out, I think that's what kind of pushed them into the popularity that they eventually now have. They just did Reunion Tour, and from everything I read about those, it was nuts. But those reissues and all those unreleased tracks and all that stuff, and the fact that Danzig himself became popular after Misfits, after he left, that all created a whole new generation of fans, which is great for a band that started out with just two albums. It's kind of, to me, reminiscent of the Smiths in a way. The Smiths are this hugely influential band, but they didn't put out a lot of material. But it's so good. I mean, I'm a huge Smiths and Morrissey fan. Anyway,
Um, so they, it's to me, Misfits is just it's a Halloween band, it's a horror band. They of course horror punk. They were the origins of that. But what do you think is your favorite Misfit songs? Of course, I love Halloween, but there are so many other good songs that they recorded. Um, I would love to hear your memories of the band itself. What do you think about the song Halloween? I mean, do you think it's overplayed? Do you think it doesn't deserve its place in everybody in the universe's Halloween playlist every year, or do you think it's just one of those songs that's a no brainer? Um, is it a must have on your annual Halloween playlist, or is it a song that you're going to get sick of hearing at some point? I don't think so. I love the song every time I hear it. My children now sing it when they hear it come on my radio station at home, and they also, I think probably it's second to Susie and the Banshees, Cities and Dust. My 5-year-old absolutely adores Susie and the Banshees. So does my older daughter. But, that's kind of what we grew them up on. Anyway, so the Misfits, Danzig, I guess you would pronounce it wrongly, Sam Hain, his other band. Which version of those bands do you like the best? Is Misfits, or the original, or whatever version of the original you consider the original? Is that the band that will always be head and shoulders above any other Danzig project? Just let me know. preservehalloween@gmail.com. You can write me on Facebook or Instagram, and I will love to hear the comments you guys having up. And this is, like I said, this is just one of hopefully a series of podcasts I do on songs from Halloween. Because if you know anything about me, I love Henry Hall's "Here Comes the Bogeyman." That's probably going to be the next topic podcast of song podcasts I do, because I absolutely love that song, and I do want to know more about it. But I'm going to leave you with this this short question that there's a guy named Jason Heller. He writes for the AV Club, and he interviewed Danzig and asked him, he said, "Do you ever listen to any happy, positive music?" And Danzig answered him by saying, "Anything that makes you feel good is happy and positive. It takes two negatives to make a positive. I've always been the person who likes to take negatives and turn them into positives. And if they stay negative, that's okay too." So that's, that's like one of those Skeletor live, laugh, love quotes that is somewhat unexpected from someone who seems kind of a morbid guy. But hey, Danzig, his happy, positive music is whatever you think it is. So take that word of advice, and like we always say, preserve Halloween.